Hello. Welcome into the Amanda and Kendall show, the fantasy life show, the show with no name. We are so excited to have you here today. Kendall Valenzuela and the one and only Amanda Cooterdoodle to all of you guys. Maiden name Cooterdoodle, probably. Amanda, we have no name, but that's how we're just going to introduce this whole show. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm excited to be here for our first episode, and we'll figure out the name as we go, right?
It has to be a vibe thing, right? Something's going to come to us, and all of a sudden we're just going to say, "Oh, that's the name." But for right now, two ladies with no name. That's probably what it is. The Amanda and Kendall show, the Amanda show, like from way back when, and then we can say in parentheses with Kendall. I like that one too. That could be fun
for the Nickelodeon fans. Yeah,
that was a good show.
It was. But look, we're going to be talking a little more football, I think, than they did, right?
No, probably. Well, we could hope so. I don't know. With you on here, no one knows what's going to go on, and that's why I'm so excited about it. So we will be talking some football, pop culture moments as well. We're going to do everything fun for the offseason. But if you all are listening and you come up with a name idea as well, please just let us know. At Cooterdoodle on Twitter, on X, at KValenzuela17 is where you can find us. And hopefully we get good name suggestions? ? I think we will. Maybe. If not, that's fine. We'll figure it out in a second here. So the name of the show, not yet known, but Amanda, we're going to have 4 quarters and an overtime. So that's how this is going to go. You're going to see a timer at the top of your screen, just like the Oscars. We're going to try and get through everything that we can, 10 minutes apiece. And then, of course, we're going to have overtime and have a little bit of fun over there. But 4 quarters starts right now. Let's get into the first quarter here with Did You Hear? Amanda, are you ready? I'm ready.
I'm ready, Coach. Put me in.
All right. Here we go. All right. Amanda, did you hear that the Rams plan to trade away Cooper Kupp? First of all, sad. He put out a really sad statement saying that he did not know this was coming. So that was kind of also sad. Matthew Stafford was sad. Kelly Stafford was sad. Everyone was sad about it. But the Rams do intend to trade Cooper Kupp, I guess, this season. What was your initial reaction?
It always hurts when you hear that a player's not ready for it. I mean, you have to, as a fan, you imagine that there's these big, grand conversations in the background where they prepare them and they're like, hey, we're going to let you know real quickly what's coming out in a week or two. So that was upsetting. But then now we have to think about, okay, so where does he go, right?
Yes.
We have Cooper Kupp that I get that he's been hurt. If we kind of go time travel a bit, in 2022, he played 9 games total, but 5 of those he had top 10 finishes, right? In 2023, he only played 11 games, but he had 3 of those were top 5 finishes. And then in 2024, similarly, he played 12 games, but 5 of those were top 15 wide receiver finishes. So he still has it in the tank, in my opinion. I think he needs to go to a team that can elevate him and maybe not rely on him all season long. So I want to see him on the Kansas City Chiefs. Is that crazy?
Oh, yes, that is crazy. Really? The Chiefs? That's your favorite
Chiefs.
One? Oh my gosh.
But here's why. We're going to talk later about it, but aging Kelce, we got Rashee Rice that, is he coming back from injury? And we already know Puka and Kupp can just be a dream team. Why can't it be Worthy and Kupp the dream team? You know what I mean?
I kind of love it. I thought you were going to say the Commanders, because that's going to be a team we talk about a lot this offseason. They need some help. The Houston Texans need some help. Maybe if they let Stephon Diggs walk. I can't imagine that they do that, but poor Tank Dell is not probably going to come back for the 2025 season. The Patriots, that would be kind of gross. But for fantasy, I mean, it's just sad. Cooper Kupp's 31. So to us, that's just super old for fantasy football. We talk about the age cliff. And now it's a sad Cooper Kupp. Maybe he's going to have his revenge year where he says, he got dumped and he's just going to be like, oh, you wanted to get rid of me? Now you should have bought me, and you should have bought me in fantasy, and I'm going to have a great year. Maybe that's what he does.
I would subscribe. I love a good comeback story. But look, we know he can sustain it, right? And people are probably wondering about Puka too. What happens with Puka now that Cooper's gone? But I still love Puka. I don't know about you, but I think that we've seen him be the wide receiver 1 for the team with and without Cooper Kupp. And I don't think it's really I'm not panicking. Can he be the wide receiver 1? As far as all wide receivers go, I think the possibility is there, but I'm going to temper my expectations, especially because he averaged maybe 11 to 12 targets a game, 95 yards. So in PPR, I do like Puka, but the wide receiver 1 overall, I'm not so sure.
No, it's got to be Jamar Chase, right? Is it Jamar for you? in draft season right now?
Oh, yeah. But look, I've been burned before.
I know.
I've talked about this. When I get burned, I get nervous. There was that one time when he started off slow and I took him 101. So
Okay, I
we'll
like it.
see.
I do agree though with Puka first round. It has to be where he's going, depending on where it is in drafts. But for Cooper Kupp, yeah, the Rams do save 15 million with this in cash, 7.5 against the salary cap too. So I could really see him, especially the Patriots. I think that's going to be my landing spot. I think that's where I think he's going to go. Do I necessarily like it for fantasy football? Not necessarily. Drake May could step up, but they have so much money. So I think I'm gonna stake my claim right here and say Cooper Kupp to the Patriots, and then you're going to say to the Chiefs, and the rich get richer. It's fine,
Right.
It's fine.
And do you have any like pop culture? I was thinking like to compare this Closing Time by Semisonic.
Oh,
you don't have to go home. You don't have to retire, but you can't stay here. You know what I mean?
I like that one. They're just pushing him out the door. You're like, okay, thank you, Cooper. Thank you so much. So now I like that. We'll see the revenge bod. The revenge bod for Cooper Kupp will be amazing.
Now, look, I have to ask you, did you hear that Deebo Samuel wants out?
Oh, I did hear that. You know what's even worse about that, Amanda, is that this is the second time in 3 years he's asked to be traded. But now he had a bad year and they say, okay, you know what? You're right. You can go on ahead and you can go and try and find someone else. Listen, for us, for fantasy, it wasn't good. I drafted Deebo Samuel in a lot of places, and it was so disappointing. There were times where I just had to say to myself, it does not matter what his ADP was, where I picked him in drafts. Like, I just at some point had to say, I have to bench Deebo Samuel. It was just so not good. So he's coming off this season, 29 years old, probably the worst season, I think, of his career, 806 scrimmage yards, 4 touchdowns, career lows. It was so bad. And the worst part was, Amanda, that I thought he was going to have a great season because Brandon Ayuk went down, right? So I said to myself, we never want injuries. But when Brandon Ayuk went down, I said, perfect. All my Deebo Samuel shares are going to come back up. It's going to be fine. And then it wasn't him. It was George Kittle. We saw a little bit of Ricky Pearsall. We know what happened with the running back room. But yeah, after two times asking, now after this bad season, they said, you know what? Yes, go ahead. See if you can field some trade offers. And I don't think I can go back. Amanda, just don't let me. If we're talking this time in like July and I'm like, look at Deebo Samuel, he is so cheap right now. Just tell me, don't do it. I can't do it anymore. I can't draft Deebo Samuel again.
But what team could he go to that could make you do it again? You know what I mean?
What? Probably any team that we just talked about for Cooper Kupp, any team that needs a wide receiver, right? Where T. Higgins is a huge free agent, Chris Godwin is a huge free agent right now. So any team that needs both of those guys, I'm assuming they're all going to be in the mix for Deebo Samuel, right? So it's the Commanders, it's the Chargers, it's the Broncos, it's everyone else that we just. Why? What's your favorite team landing spot for him?
When you said Broncos, I can't like psychologically imagine him in the bright orange for some reason. I can't do it after 6 years in San Francisco, right? But I do agree. I mean, he only had 3 top 15 wide receiver performances in 2024 compared to 8 in 2023. So I understand his frustrations. I'm excited about Bo Nix. I think we saw enough from him to think that he could sustain. So why not throw him in the Broncos, change the colors up a bit and see what he can do, right?
That'd be a big mix. I was doing a draft today because we're sickos and obviously had to do it for like hashtag research. But on Underdog, Bo Nix was going as QB7 off the board. That's a lot. They need more weapons. They need more weapons. Listen, they've got Courtland Sutton. So I kind of like that one. So for you, counter question, Ricky Pearsall then. He has to jump up the ranks a little bit, even though Brandon Ayuk's going to come back. Hopefully, George Kittle had a phenomenal season. But where does that leave you with Ricky Pearsall? A little bit of sleeper?
You know, he's a sleeper, but I feel in my gut and my heart, like the little butterflies for Juwan Jennings. Like, I just want more Juwan Jennings. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's the guy that he had those big weeks with 2 touchdowns. And so he's the one I want to see what happens with him.
Okay, I like that one. Did you hear? Let me go for this one here, because I'm sure you heard it, because anything Travis Kelce, everyone hears. But Travis Kelce is taking some time to decide on his future. So New Heights podcast, he came out and said, quote, "I know everybody wants to know whether or not I'm playing next year. Right now, I'm just kicking everything down the road. That's a lot of wear and tear on your body. It's a lot of time spent in the building, focusing on your craft, focusing on the task at hand. Every challenge that you set for yourself, that process can be grueling. It can weigh on you." So, first of all, just straight up, do you think Travis Kelce retires this year?
I mean, I love that he's taking the time and he's not going to pull a Tom Brady or retire and come back and you know what I mean? I like that he's articulating that he's hesitant, but it doesn't sound like a guy that's excited to get back on the field. So that does make me a little nervous. But maybe he is just more in tune with his feelings, and he wants, like he said, maybe he's being very forthcoming and he wants to give 100%, and he's just not sure if he can do that yet. So if I had to put money on it, I don't see him coming back. He feels hesitant there. He feels very hesitant.
He does. It has to be the part too where they lost so badly in the Super Bowl. Like, right? That's the only thing that I think, okay, if they would have won that game, I was on board with, yeah, Travis Kelce's going to retire, ride off into the sunset with Taylor Swift and do amazing things. He's got like probably 80 commercials lined up, and his podcast is huge. Like, money, he does not care about money, but they lost so badly, 40-22 in that Super Bowl. So I bet that's one of the other reasons why he's maybe contemplating coming back. But he wasn't good. I want to, like, borderline, it was just bad. 823 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, both career lows. And for fantasy, it was just one of those things where you were drafting him, you were hoping that it was going to happen, and it just didn't. So I think he comes back, but I bet he retired if they won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, and look, I know we're on the clock here. The quarter's almost over, right? I'm about to throw the Hail Mary, and I just have to say, do we think Noah Gray takes his spot?
No, I can't draft Noah Gray in the top 10. Can you?
Me
okay,
either.
Goodness. The timer's making me nervous, though. I'm rethinking everything. My hands are sweaty. I don't.
What do we get? A flag on the play? We're fine.
It's fine. No, they cut us off just like see, mics are dead. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's go into the second quarter here. We've got more coming at you. Let's go. Oh, we have to do it, Amanda. State of the team. First of all, I have to ask if you're okay. You know, you're on this show. This is our show. So I just have to ask if you're okay as a Saints fan. You've got your new head coach, which was probably the worst kept secret in the NFL, but Kellen Moore's your new head coach. Like, just overall vibes. How are you doing? Are you okay?
So look, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, I'm a Saints fan. I go to the games. I've been through the ups. I've been through the downs. My first thing I have to say is, Coach, I'm so sorry. Like, you're coming into a team, an organization that is dead last in cap space. We have negative 50+ million in cap. We have an aging defense with wonderful guys, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, but they're getting up there, right? We have Alvin Kamara, who's been online kind of throwing shade, saying that he wanted Rizzy to be the head coach. So is he even happy? And then we have to talk about the injuries, Kendall. I mean, last season, Olave with the concussions, right? Rashid Shaheed getting hurt. It's Kendre Miller. It's just been snowball after snowball. So I really hope that he can do it. And I was starting to have a lot of faith until, did you see what Barry tweeted? Our big boss up above.
Our fearless leader. What did he tweet?
So Pro Football Talk had mentioned how Kellen Moore didn't get a single vote for Assistant Coach of the Year. Okay. Cool. Got it. But then Barry goes ahead and says that's because he wasn't even the best assistant coach on his own team. And it hit me straight in the heart. I don't know how to feel anymore. I was hopeful. I was excited. Kellen Moore is in press conferences talking trash to the Falcons, which feels very Saints to me. And then Barry goes and just drops the bomb like that. You know, how am I supposed to feel?
Yeah, sad Saints fan. That stinks. Matthew, why would
he
do that to you? He might as well have just tagged you. You know that was towards you. Yeah, just tag her next time, Matthew. Like, what are we doing here? It's so, negative 59.5 million in cap space, which they always get around the cap somehow, and that's like all the jokes of people say the cap isn't real, but they do get around it. But there's no, and my other thing is, what's your stance on Derek Carr, right? Because Derek Carr has come out and said, first of all, I think the bigger thing with Derek Carr is that he has said that he's not taking a pay cut. So he's not helping the team in any way there. So you've got Derek Carr, who signed a 4-year, $150 million contract with the Saints 2023. Will count, Amanda, $51.45 million against the salary cap in 2025. He was asked straight up, would he take a pay cut? And he just said, quote, I would not take a pay cut. He told ESPN that. Can you win with Derek Carr?
Look, I am in tune and touched into Saints Twitter, and it's pretty loud about what the fans are saying. And they thought that that Kellen Miller's first press conference was going to be to announce that Carr was out, and many were disappointed when he didn't. However, he was very non-committal with what Carr's role is going to be in this offense. He said he's excited about the process, and he never fully, even though he was kind of pressured with some of these questions, he never fully committed to him being the starter. So I don't know if there's fire to this. You know what I mean? Is it where there's smoke, is there fire? I don't know. But I'm excited that there's a fresh start. We've had a rough 2024. And look, at the end of the day, Moore has won more games in the Superdome in 2024 than Dennis Allen did. So at least we have one step foot going in the right direction, right?
That's horrible. What a horrible stat. That's so bad. If they said, all right, you're watching the press conference, whatever, maybe Derek Carr's a post June 1 cut, right? Post June 1 designation, they restructure whatever, and then they allow the franchise to spread out the dead cap hit over 2 or 3 years, whatever it is. If they said, now introducing, imagine this, game 1, right? Your season ticket holder. Mm-hmm. Now starting for the New Orleans Saints, Aaron Rodgers. Ooh, and he comes out. Who would you rather?
Okay. See, that was offensive, and I need a new co-host. I'm
so sorry.
No. Kendall, okay, we already have, I feel, enough drama in our entire section of our team, where from the top, where the fans are mad at Mickey Loomis for the decisions that he's made, and then the coaching changes, and then the players have had drama with things that they've tweeted. We know that even Chris Olave's brother was mad at Carr, but I'm taking Carr over Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, I don't think I can handle. I can't handle the diva.
He would bring a lot of baggage, and then he'd bring all his best friends. Maybe we should do that next show. Ooh. Just bring all of our friends on here and just be like, hey, and then tell our producer Matt Swing, like, we have to sign this person, and that's how we get this show going. But I will say, any free agent that you like, if there was a world where they said Derek Carr's not our quarterback, like Sam Darnold's out there, that wasn't awful.
Look, I'm going to put this out there. I'm sorry, but I enjoyed it. Bring Jameis back. Jameis back. I had so much fun with Jameis, and he was throwing the ball down the field. Imagine Shaheed, the amount of touchdowns that he could have with Jameis at the wheel.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun. Chris Olave would have to be happy then, right? Mm-hmm. How are you not happy with Jameis Winston? At least for the pregame speeches. What is the vibe? Maybe that's the show name, because I've asked you what's the vibe like 3 times now. But Chris Olave. So it was really, the concussions are very serious, and that's kind of why we didn't see him back out there for the 2024 season. Obviously, he's been injured a lot, but when you do get hospital balls from Derek Carr, it's obviously not fun to have to go out there. But what is the outlook for you? What do you think is going to happen with Chris Olave? Comes back if it's a different quarterback?
It's funny because a lot of people are talking about his health, but does he, like you're touching upon it, does he even want to be here? I'm not sure at this point. I know, like we've said, his family has even made comments. It seems like he doesn't want to play with Carr. As far as fantasy purposes, I like something that Dwayne McFarland said last season when Puka was hurt coming back. And he said the decision you need to make as a fantasy player, just be consistent. So when you have a guy coming back from injury, just be consistent with the decisions that you make. If you're going to trust them coming back and being healthy, do it across the board. You know what I mean? But I don't know if Olave wants to be back. I think it's going to really come down to who's throwing the ball and what kind of changes are made. I don't know. So yeah, my panic meter right now is probably at a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, and I don't, like, contract-wise, I haven't looked too deep into it. They have to make a decision by May 2nd, right, to pick up his 5th-year option. So that's estimated about $15 million. He's under contract for the 2025 season. So it's if they're going to pay him like a top 15, or if they kind of, the franchise tag, I guess, could be in play too. But for fantasy, so disappointing. He was going in the 2nd round of drafts last year. I took him in a couple just because he's so wildly talented that sometimes you have to look at those guys and say, well, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It's Chris Olave. He was going next to Drake London in some of those drafts where it was like, okay, it's Kirk Cousins, but it's Drake London. Like they're just so good. So yeah, that stings. And then, I mean, were the rumors true? Kendrick Miller was hated by Dennis Allen, right? Like he hated him. What was
the
that?
facts would check out, right?
What was that? He goes onto the podium. He's like, he's not working hard or something. They put him. And then the one that killed me last year, Amanda, was that not that we drafted Kendrick Miller a little bit in case Alvin Kamara went down. But what killed me were the reports that that Dennis Allen put him on IR when he wasn't even hurt just to get him out of there. What's going on? What was that?
Look, I don't know what's alleged and what's not. All we can go off of is the fact that he wasn't on the field when we thought he wanted to be, and that hurts. But then when you're bringing up Alvin Kamara, I mean, what is going to happen with his backfield? Because let's say Kendray's back healthy. Kamara, he is aging, right? What do you see for his outlook in the future? I mean, I personally want to see, before I can say that he's out, he's old, he's on the downswing. I want to see what this offense can do when it's firing on all cylinders and healthy on both sides of the ball. But I don't discourage people or look down on them for saying that they're kind of passing this year. How are you feeling with that?
Yeah, I'm the same way. He is that do-it-all workhorse. We know that for Alvin Kamara. I didn't take as much of him last year just because in that range I was kind of going more receiver heavy anyway. But his receiving in fantasy football is what sets him apart. Like you can look at all his stats. His rushing is good, but the special thing about Alvin Kamara for fantasy football is his elite receiving. And you can look at all these stats when it comes down to receptions, receiving touchdowns. He had 2, but that was tied for 13th. Target share, targets per route run, like all of that is so good. So if he's still going to be the receiving back that we know and love, I almost can't fade him because I don't know, Amanda, about you, but I don't hate it. I try not to guess when a player is going to hit the age cliff. Like, unless we've seen signs of it, I don't want to be the person, on Twitter that's like, this is it. Derrick Henry, I'm fading because he's going to be 32 years old. This is it. Unless we see examples, I don't like to try and guess. So for Alvin Kamara and what he's been able to do, he's still been that running back that you're happy to have on your fantasy team. So I just can't guess when it's going to happen. I'll draft some of him, not heavy, but some next year. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Be consistent with it because he still had 9 top 15 running back finishes last year, right? And he played 14 games. 4 of those were top 6. So when we talk about the fact that the Saints were pretty disheveled, they were injured, we had a lot of problems going on, he still managed to be successful. So I'm with you until we see, timer.
Stop talking.
Until we see Alvin Kamara, like you said, showing us that he can't handle the load that they're giving him. He can't handle it. He's struggling. His yards are coming down. And I'm really not worried at this point, as long as the Saints keep feeding him the ball and chunking those little, PPR points his way.
Exactly. I'm with you. By the way, can we just really quickly, before we move on to the next thing here, you met Rashid Shaheed. I got to witness it, and it was like it was like attending a wedding, almost in a not weird way, but I was just like, I'm so happy to be a part of this, or like a birthday. How was that?
I'll just leave it at this. If you manifest, they will come. You know what I mean? Like they will show up at SiriusXM at the Super Bowl Media Week.
I love it. And you got all those jerseys signed. So it was even better. All right. Before we continue on, let's hear from our friends over at New Era. Celebrate the Eagles' second ever Lombardi Trophy with New Era Cap, the official cap of the Super Bowl champs. The Eagles are Super Bowl champions once again as they return to the biggest stage and delivered. Wear what the players wear and honor their championship with the official cap of the Super Bowl champions, available now from New Era Cap. All right, Amanda, we're continuing on. We're in our third quarter here. So just remember, it's 4 quarters and an overtime. So we've still got a lot of fun to do. I'm excited about this one because we have to bring in some pop culture moments because the Super Bowl.
Yes, we do.
I loved the Super Bowl halftime show. I loved Kendrick Lamar. The meme or the photo that came out of it that was the most viral was when he looked right in the camera and said, say Drake. And it was just like, oh, it was so good. It was so good. Did you like it?
I loved it. It was amazing. My husband didn't know any of the songs, but my little girl was singing along, and I felt like that was just, I'm like, Mom Award of the Year. She knew the halftime show. So in line with this meme, I don't know if I can do it, like the just say Drake, but if we're going to be hating.
You hit that.
Yeah, I hit that. If we're going to be hating, I have to say Jerry Jones, I heard you like to hire lame duck head coaches. Let's hate a bit, Kendall.
We're not hating enough. That's the meme that comes out of it. It's like, if you think you're hating, then you look at what Kendrick's doing with Drake and you're like, I'm not doing it well enough. So listen, I want to try and say really nice things about Jerry Jones, and I don't know if I can yet. But hiring Brian Schottenheimer as someone, I love when they say, well, he's got 25 years of NFL coaching experience. But Amanda, in those 25 years, and listen, I don't remember all the way back to the golden age of the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't remember Schottenheimer or anyone for that matter asking him to, do head coaching interviews. So I think that's the first red flag, right? Okay, great. He's got 25 years of head coaching experience, but he's never really been in the mix to be a head coach. This just felt, to me, it was so disappointing because when they decided to tell the Bears, right, the Bears came over, tried to ask Mike McCarthy for a head coaching interview. They declined. The Cowboys said, no, you can't interview him. This, it's not going to happen. So to me, I thought, okay, great. They're going to bring back Mike McCarthy. Not the worst decision in the world. I think they had a way better season than even I anticipated once Dak Prescott went down. So it wasn't awful, right? That would have been okay. Then 11 days later, we're sitting here saying, well, okay, Mike McCarthy's out. They've got not a lot of people left to hire, and they just go with the easy guy, Brian Schottenheimer. So yeah, we're not hating enough. Jerry Jones, you're definitely looking at that. Like, it just feels easy, right? It just feels like an easy guy that will just get right in line with Jerry wants, and it's Jerry's world, right? We're just living in it. That's got to be it.
It's starting to feel like Jerry's world. And at some point, kind of like you touched upon, like, when do we realize that maybe the Cowboys need to switch things up and try something different, right? I mean, as of right now, CeeDee Lamb, is he the only guy we're excited about to take in a draft? I mean,
yeah, 1,000%. Unless like Dak, okay, later in drafts, you're probably not going to walk away with Dak as your, one QB, but super flex is always a conversation there. But yeah, it's CeeDee Lamb in the first round. And then depending on what they do in the draft. But Amanda, we did this last year. We thought that they were going to take a running back in the draft, and they decided to not do it. And they just said, you know what, we're going to run it back with Ezekiel Elliott and everything's going to be fine. And guess what? Spoiler alert, it was not fine. So unless they draft Ashton Genty, right, who's the big running back that everyone's out of Boise State, that everyone's kind of waiting for, if he falls to them at 12, because I do think that would be a fall for him. I could see the Bears trying to go get him. So could be CeeDee Lamb, maybe Ashton Genty, and then that's it. I think that's it.
Is that where the list ends? I mean, like,
that's where it stops.
Is Ashton Genty the only thing that can save the Cowboys?
Maybe Ashton Genty and Brian Schottenheimer. Wouldn't it be funny though if like mid-November you and I are doing this and then all of a sudden we have to apologize? So we should clip this just in case and be like, Schottenheimer, I was not familiar with your game. This is totally out of left field. I can't imagine that happening. But maybe. Can I give you the quotes that Jerry said during the introductory press conference for Schottenheimer?
Please.
Because if someone said this to you on a scale of 1 to 10, I just need to know how hurt you would be. Okay, here's the first one. Quote from Jerry Jones. "This is as big of a risk as you can take. No head coaching experience, as big of a risk as you can take." I'd be crying.
Cool. Oh yeah, I'm already ghosting my first week at the job. I'm done.
I'm crying. Tears are in my eyes. The other quote: "I like his baggage. I like that experience."
So
full on mental breakdown.
But also the experience that you just said was not great.
Exactly.
This is ramblings of an old man.
It's bad. Last one. Mike McCarthy left some good stuff here. One of them was Brian.
Oh my gosh. Does he even want him here at this point? I don't know what's going on. He's faking his way through these press conferences.
Oh my gosh. I love it. All right. What else are we not hating enough on?
You know what? I gotta talk a little bit about, say, DeAndre Hopkins. I heard he liked to delete tweets. And here's why.
Oh, yeah.
Here's why, Kendall. And I'm going to be the first to say it. Was there a fake Schefter account that posted that Andy Reid said from his lips that DeAndre Hopkins was going to retire? Perhaps. And did I fall for it? Perhaps. But you know who else did? I think DeAndre Hopkins did too, because he tweeted, "Don't know what you heard, but I'm not done yet." And while that is a bar, he deleted it. And that's where I get in here that I'm like, look, DeAndre, I understand we all fall for the tweets. I did, but don't delete it, right? Like, still let us have the confidence to know that you're still in this and you're not giving up. It has to be because he realized that it was a fake account, right?
That's hilarious. Who among us hasn't been duped by by a fake Adam Schefter account once or twice? Me. Yep. Hand up, me. That's hilarious though, that he saw, he was probably so mad if he actually thought that was Andy Reid. Because was he tweeting about DeAndre Hopkins like retiring, right? Or saying that this was his last season?
Yes, it was within 24 hours. I think 20 hours later is when DeAndre, he cleared the air, right? But then he deleted it. So I have to imagine someone said, "Hey, buddy, wasn't real. You falling for it too." You know what I mean?
Tough. Look, stars, they're just like us. You have to make sure, you have to have the right tweet notifications on. I think that's hilarious, though, that he said, never mind. So DeAndre Hopkins not retiring, but again, probably the same song that you just said, like, you can go, but you can't stay here. That's probably DeAndre Hopkins. He can't, I don't think they bring him back. I thought he was going to score in the Super Bowl, but they decided to just not show up in general. So he's got to have a bad taste in his mouth after that.
He has to, and I really was hoping he would get a ring. But I mean, look, if he doesn't stay, even if he does, he wasn't like a huge playmaker as far as fantasy purposes, right? Or how are we viewing guys like Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy? I mean, I know with Kelce, we just talked about his question marks in the future, and his stats weren't looking good this year either. So I know we talked about Alvin Kamara, and let's wait and see what the stats say before we give up. But Kelce's stats weren't that great. So whether he returns or not, he's not the playmaker he was, right? And I'm going to be honest. You know me. I love a good bandwagon wide receiver. Puka Nacua, Rashid Shaheed. I think I'm all in on Xavier Worthy this year.
Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna be right there with you. I would right now draft Xavier Worthy ahead of Rashee Rice. I would do that right now.
Me too.
It goes, and you should. If you're drafting right now, you know what? More applause to you. But yeah, I think Xavier Worthy just showed end of the season that he can maintain a really nice role for fantasy football. Travis Kelce is not going to be one that we have to worry about where we talk about the target shares and anything like that. Rashee Rice coming back from injury. I do believe we have to see if he's going to be suspended as well. He might have to face a suspension towards the beginning of the season, but that's something for later on in the season. But yeah, I'm with you. I really like Xavier Worthy. I like what he showed. And isn't that the crazier part though, man, is that might be Isaiah Pacheco is going to go late in drafts because he was awful coming back from his injury. I know they might have tried to just get him warmed up during the regular season when he was able to come back for a little bit and then kind of open it up in the playoffs. So that's what I thought they were going to do with Isaiah Pacheco, and it just didn't happen. So he'll probably go late, but maybe with a full offseason healthy, he'll be okay. But I think that's crazy that we're just another year where we're not really targeting as many Chiefs players. We're just like, no, we can't go back there. We can't do it.
Right. But I do think it's worth noting that Rashee Rice, his last game was like week 4, and we didn't see Worthy just take over until later on in the season, I think like week 10. And so the narrative that I like to try to imagine from that is that he wasn't just stepping into the Rice role, he earned it, right? He got to this point where he was only 1-2 catches, 17 yards, 30 yards. And then weeks in, he built rapport with Mahomes, and now he was catching 8 catches, 50 yards, 70 yards. 150 yards with some touchdowns, right? So yeah, I know people are going to say sophomore slump, but I don't believe it. I am in on Worthy this year. I really am.
With you. I'm in on Worthy too. I like that one a lot. Let's do this last one that I have here. Let me say Cam Newton. He thinks that the Panthers, when they drafted him, were losers. Now, regardless if that's true, Amanda, you can't say it out loud. I know he was the first overall pick in that draft, so obviously, not that there's some truth to that, but they were the worst team in the NFL the year prior. So saying it out loud, though, Amanda. So now people are coming for him. By the way, just old teammates. You've got a lot of guys coming for him and saying like this isn't true. You can't. He was on the Travis Hunter show. This is where it happened. So I just have to say, ballsy to just come out and just say that your team, the team that drafted you, had a bunch of losers. Here's the quote. My issue is that when I was the first pick, I went into a locker room of losers. Just honest. Guys didn't know how to win. Guys didn't know how to prepare. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you could see how that entire fan base and even the team would be a little mad, right?
Like, can you imagine? What are we doing?
I'll say this real quick. Before the buzzer cuts me off, as an NFC South girly, I got to agree with Cam Newton a little bit. I don't care if the Panthers had the same amount of wins as the Saints last year, 5. I don't care if they had the same amount of losses, 12. I'm just going to, and look, maybe they have the better organization, but I'm going to stick with my NFC South team and say, you know what? Maybe we cut Cam some slack, okay?
That's so funny. Steve Smith Sr. was just so pissed about it. He was just like, no, that's not right. But he is hating on a Kendrick Lamar level. He just said, you know what? I'm just gonna put it out there and say that the team that drafted me number 1 overall had a bunch of losers in it. So, you know, a little bit now I can't even say a little bit of respect to that because that's just so mean. Before we continue on here with our third, are we on our third quarter already?
See, time flies. Quarter 4.
Fourth quarter? Okay. See, time flies when we're having fun. Before we do that, let's hear from our friends over at Bud Light.
Hey, you know you're not actually allowed to drink in a beer commercial?
Since when?
You gotta wait till it's done. Oh.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, Amanda, we've got the hot girl hotline for the fourth quarter. I'm a little bit, we have not heard these, obviously. So longtime listeners, first time callers, obviously, just fans of the show here. So let's go out to the hot girl hotline, starting with Ian.
Hi, this is Gene from Savannah. With the success of the running back in 2023, do you see more strategies going back to the hero back philosophy, or do you think there'll still be many people out there going with the zero back philosophy? Thank you.
Okay. I love that. First of all, that was not Ian Hartitz. That was Gene Clemens, who we absolutely love. Zero RB, hero RB. I think this is a good question, Amanda, because as someone that is very much a zero RB drafter, last season was the one where you looked back and I said, it would have been nice to have Saquon Barkley. Wow, look at all those. It was like that SpongeBob SquarePants meme where it's Squidward looking out the window, and I'm like, look at all those Saquon Barkley drafters. Look at Derrick Henry. So while I was sad, I will say I think we have to be really careful when we're drafting, because a lot of people try and overcorrect from mistakes. And I don't necessarily think that was a mistake. It was just the wide receivers went down a lot last year with injuries, and the running backs stayed so healthy. I don't think that can happen again this year. We really had no big running backs go down for a big period of time. Yes, it was Christian McCaffrey, but we kind of could read the tea leaves on that one and think that going into the season, he was already injured. So for me, I'm staying zero RB. I think a lot of people will try and switch and almost flip it and say, no, I want to draft, more heavy RBs here. But I just want to caution people doing that. We just always look back and we say, all right, it's what we saw to end the season and how it went. But I think I'm going to stay zero RB and just be careful trying to look back at last year and think if it's going to happen again. Because I can't imagine that we don't have as many running back injuries in 2025.
Yeah, and I think you really nailed it, Kendall, when you said we just kind of have to see how people react or overreact to it, because at the end of the day, it's what your team, your league is doing in their draft. If they're all going running back heavy, obviously you're going to pivot and go zero RB because you want to pick up all these elite wide receivers. But yeah, I have to sit here and think, like, sure, it hurt to see Saquon Barkley not on my team. It really did. But that dude still didn't make the fantasy championships. You know what I mean? At least not in my home league. And so,
wow.
Right. I know. Shout out to the losers out there. But it's one of these things where do you want to put all your eggs in the basket and kind of ignore these years worth of data that say it's more sustainable to go wide receiver? Or do you want to do like me and you just really want to brag because you got Bucky Irving late and it popped off and it worked, and you get to say, hey, you know what? I knew it was going to happen all along. Or maybe you're the one that got Kendre Miller and you're like, look, I listened, I tried, and I did my best. You know what I mean? You have to be willing, if you're going to go 0 RB, to have the ups and the downs, but it feels so good when you have the ups. So I'm still going to go 0 RB as well.
Yeah, you have to, because it does. It's so, it's so good saying like, oh, look at Kendall. I had Bucky and Chase Brown on one team. I was flying high, Amanda. I was like, I'm the smartest person here, please. But that's the more fun part when you hit on those 0 RB guys and you say, yeah, I got both of these guys. I know what I'm talking about. That's the best part. So I'm with you. 0 RB all the way. Let's go. Caller number 2 here from Sam.
Hey guys, this is Sam Wallace. Quick question for you. Who are some players you think experienced the biggest jump in dynasty value this offseason, either through the draft or free agency or just from progression year to year? Thanks. Love the show.
Ooh, that's a good question. Sam always comes with the best dynasty questions. I love that. I think, let me throw some names out there. The first one that I think dynasty value-wise has to be, for me, Chuba Hubbard. I think his dynasty stock has had to rise so much because not only did he have a phenomenal season with the Carolina Panthers and for us in fantasy football, but again, I'm always going to say this, we never want injuries, but Jonathan Brooks went down with another injury that's probably, in my opinion right now, from everything we've been reading, we might not see him in 2025. So for me, Amanda, I'm looking at Chuba Hubbard and I'm saying to myself, wow, for dynasty managers, you might have thought that ship had sailed. And that's just, just a guy, JAG, just a guy like Steve Smith Sr. likes to call Jerry Jeudy. But I think that his dynasty value really rose a lot. I know that Sam put out an article too, which everyone can go and check out at fantasylife.com. Sam and Jonathan do a great job, but they talked about Bryce Young's dynasty value also rising a little bit. So I'm kind of going to couple that with saying Chuba Hubbard, because just the move that they made to give him the extension, all that money, and then couple that with Jonathan Brooks getting hurt again, I think that was big.
Yeah. And look, I am prolifically vocal about how much dynasty scares me because it feels like more of a commitment. You know what I mean? So any dynasty league I'm in, anybody can tell you I'm so nervous to ever pull the trigger on a trade. But I have to agree. I was thinking Bryce Young as one there. Even Jaden Daniels. I mean, look what that entire organization did this year. That was super exciting to watch. So you have these young guys that, their stock is up and I don't know that people are going to let go of them. Another name that comes to mind for me as far as proving their worth, what they can do in a terrible situation is Malik Neighbors. Last year, if you're lucky, people were still sour on the production that they got based on what they expected, but he did it with a terrible carousel of quarterbacks. And so if they can fix that this year, he's one that I would be looking towards too.
I didn't have enough. I don't know about you. I did not have enough Malik Neighbors in 20. I could have drafted him every single time and I still didn't have enough because I don't know why I do it, but I looked at him and I had a lot, but I should have just taken him every single chance I got because it was just the volume, right? That's what we look for in fantasy. So you look at Malik Neighbors and you say, oh, the volume, maybe it's going to be there. Even if it's a bad quarterback, it just did not matter. He was just getting fed every single week. And I should have applied the same logic to, I don't know how much Brock Bowers you drafted last season. Mine was close to, see, you were way smarter than me. I only drafted him a couple times in redraft. And I don't know why I didn't take the same logic of being, he's just going to be fed. Yes, it's a bad offense, bad quarterback. I don't know why for him, who was cheaper than Malik Neighbors, I looked at that and said, I hate the landing spot. He had draft capital, everything. I was just, that's my biggest mistake.
Yeah. No, I have to
tell it's keeping me up at night.
I have to thank Sam Laporta because he's the only reason I was so hard onto Brock Bowers because I was like, rookie tight end, great. And hey, it paid off. So I look smart. Thank you, Sam Laporta.
That's incredible. Checks in the mail, Sam. We appreciate you so much. Sam Laporta and Sam Wallace, maybe. We appreciate both of you guys. Let's go over to call number 3 from Pete.
Hey, Amanda and Kendall. Pete here. Big fan of what you guys do. And I just had to ask a question. And it might be a tough question. And I just want to know, after meeting Rashid Shaheed, do you guys think you are compromised in how to properly value him as a fantasy asset in 2025? Because I'm just worried that after you guys got to meet him and he signed your jerseys, Cooterdoodle, that you guys are going to recommend that I draft him in the 3rd round of drafts. And look, I'm willing to give him a little fantasy life bump, okay? But I'm talking about a round or so max. So this is a tough question. I need you guys to look me in the eye. I know this is a voicemail, but you get the gist. I need you to look me in the eye and tell me that I can trust your unbiased fantasy analysis about Rashid Shaheed's 2025 outlook and that you will not let your bias seep in. I'll take my answer off air.
Look, do you want me to take this one first?
Of course.
I'll take it first. Pete, this goes out to you. I will forever and always be biased toward Rashid Shaheed. Last season, people said that I was, way too in on him and he wouldn't score again. And then he'd score again. And then the next week they'd say he won't score again. And then he'd score 2 touchdowns. And then people were drafting and I was like, you know what? I think he should go even higher. And it paid off until he got hurt, but nobody can predict that, right? But I am biased and I don't care. I'm going to give him a 2-round bump and you better follow through.
Wow. 2 rounds.
2 rounds. You know what?
I love it.
At this point, why not? I love you, Shaheed.
I love that. Listen, and I can't go against my co-host here, so I'm going to be with Amanda. Like, yeah, if it's the 4th round, I guess I'm taking Rashid Shaheed. He was so nice. How could I not? He was one of my favorite people that we interviewed, and we interviewed a lot of people that week. He was so nice. He stuck with us for like 20 minutes. I think that segment was really long, and he was just
honestly,
so cool.
Just from the way that his voice sounded, couldn't you tell that he was healthy? Like you could just feel that he's ready to just sprint down the field. Like you could just feel it in his aura. It would be nothing for him to run 80 yards, catch a touchdown. He could have done it. He could have done it, that day. Look, guys, I'm just going to say it here. He's healthy, even though he may not be on the field right now. He's healthy.
He told us he was healthy. He told us rehab was going well and that it was great. I didn't tell you this, but after we talked to him, I already placed a bet, first touchdown scorer in the opening game for the Saints. I put Rashid Shaheed. So I don't know if you want to follow suit there. Scared. As taught me, scared money don't make money. So $1 on that?
Oh, easily 10 units. You're right.
I love it. All right. Timer's about to go off, but yeah, Rashichi, are you going to, last question. Are you framing those cause I like how they're hanging. Are we going to leave them hanging? Are we going to frame them now that they're signed? What are we doing?
I probably should frame them. You know what I mean? I have all 3, but for now, this is the setup and this is what it's going to be. We'll see.
I like it. All right. That was the Hot Girl Hotline, which I absolutely loved. Thank you for all, like I said, longtime listeners, first-time callers, appreciate you guys so much. We're going into overtime. I can't believe this, Amanda, because I guess time flies when you're having fun. Best friends, I think you could say. So let me set this segment up for everyone. If you're not watching and you're just listening, we're doing the Would You Rather wheel. Get your head out of the gutter. It's not like that. We're doing Would You Rather for who would you rather have in Dynasty right now. And I hope this is amazing. Our producer, Matt Swing, actually sent me a wheel that I'm going to pull over from Amazon. So, Amanda, look at this. I mean, we've got props on the show already. That's how good we are.
Props? Day one?
Day one props. And yes, I did have to put this together. Yes, there were a few curse words said when I put this wheel together, but that's okay because we're here for the people and we're going to use this wheel. Swing told me that I had to look it. He told me I had to hang on to it. I don't really want to do that. But okay, we're doing the Would You Rather wheel. So I'm going to give you 2 guys. This is okay. All right. Here we go. No, this is our first show, so just give me a break. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give you 2 people. It's going to just keep spinning. Who is that?
She's trying to read her own handwriting, folks.
Okay, Amanda, who would you rather have for Dynasty? It was Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Ooh, that's a tough question.
That is a tough question. That is. And look, I think I was pretty vocal online in 2024 about Malik Neighbors because it seemed like I was always getting burned on the weeks that I started him and then I'd give up and he would do good. I think I'd rather Malik. I really do. Like he did so much with so little and I believe in his overall just athleticism. So I'm going Malik. You said, ooh, do you hate it?
No, I don't hate it. It's so funny because Adam Ronas and I were talking about this today on Sirius XM. Like Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, I'm just going to try and get as many of them as I can in just best ball redraft formats. Like I want every single piece of them. I would be with you on Malik Neighbors just because the only downside with Brian Thomas Jr., and there's not many, is that maybe the coaching staff doesn't work out again. Maybe Trevor Lawrence isn't as good, but he's an alpha target earner like we just talked about with Malik. So that one's a tough one. All right. Wheel is spinning again. And the Giants
can't get worse, right? Like can they get worse?
They might be able to get worse. Okay. That says Malik Neighbors again. So I obviously need to turn this quicker. Okay. Brian Robinson. All right. Brian Robinson, or look at this wheel. It just spins so nicely. Okay, okay.
Bijan Robinson
or Brock Bowers.
Ooh, see, and that one I feel like
Dynasty.
I feel like that was created for me. Bijan or Brock Bowers. I love a good tight end, but I feel like when you go down to what the positional, there's just, I got to go with Bijan, right? He was such a prolific running back this year. And as much as Brock Bowers was elite and incredible, there's just, you got to play 2 running backs at least. So I'm going to go Bijan. I need Bijan.
Oh man, that is definitely a difficult question. I think I'm with you. I would still go Bijan, but I would say that's a difficult question. So I'm with you. That would be a little bit closer. Let's try and get one more would you rather for Dynasty in here. Okay, let's go with Puka Nacua. Yes, I'm changing this. It's our wheel, so I can change this. All right, Puka Nacua or Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Ooh, for some people, that may not be tough because they're like, well, Cooper Kupp's out. Can Puka do it? Listeners that know me will probably think I'll lean Puka here, but I'm actually going to go Amon-Ra. I love the Lions. I really, really wanted them to make it to the Super Bowl. And I think Amon-Ra just got the more consistent big games where Puka's kind of got the safer play. So I'm going to go Amon-Ra.
I'm with you. I'm going ARSB, only because we know the Lions, even with, and listen, I understand people are a little bit, might say Ben Johnson's gone. Like this offense is going to fall off a little bit. No, it will not. It's going to be okay without Ben Johnson. They do leave behind, an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator. That will hurt a little bit, but it's still Amon-Ra St. Brown, and just talent wise and just how good he is in that offense. I have to go with Amon-Ra, but I do need to draft more. I do need to draft more Puka Nacua this year. That's already said and done. I definitely need to do that.
Yeah, and even the blue hair, right? I mean, Amon-Ra every year when he's going to those playoffs. Yeah, he just looks so good out there. They deserve a ring. Give the Lions a ring. Come on. Whoever's writing the script.
It's America's new team. That's what it is. It's America's team, and it's not the Cowboys anymore with Schottenheimer. It is now America's team with the Detroit Lions. I love it. Did we think of a name while we were here doing this?
You know what?
No.
Is it the Rashid Shaheed fan club show? I don't know.
Could we get him on every other week? Say, Rashid, listen, we're all close now. We all know that you and Amanda just have this rapport together. Come on the show. I think you have to call him. Can you call him for us?
Sure. I'll have him on next week.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Appreciate you all hanging out with us today for the show with no name still, but that's okay. We're going to get there. Kendall and Amanda Cooterdoodle here with you. We're going to see you next time.